You've here looking at stars across geographical and cultural divides. They've often exploited their fan base to jump into politics. Many of them may not have done as well, but somehow we see that in Tamil Nadu, stars usually foraying into politics are looked at as political demigods over the years. How did they get that magic formula?
I would disagree a bit in the start itself. It is wrong to caricature Tamil Nadu when they see them as demigods, because if you look at the long history of Tamil Nadu, you can see that before the independence movement, it was very surprising. During independence movement, you can take Bhaskara Das, Vishwanatha Das, or even Tyagabhumi by Kalki. They had their foray into this independence movement, and they used cinema as a tool to do that. And then when the Dravidian movement came, they also had it as an ideologue. They had used it as a tool to say their ideas and ideologies. It is not that through the charisma they were able to garner people. We forget that MJR was in active politics for more than 30 years before he became CM of Tamil Nadu. And also it is very pertinent to note that if you look at, you count the numbers, you can have this side the politicians, the cine politicians who became successful. You put the numbers this side. And who became a, what you can say, failure or cropper. The numbers would be staggeringly high here and the number would be less here. I can say an example. In 2004, Rajini gave a voice for a party. And what is the numbers of seats they won? 0. So, if Rajini is like a demigod, he has market all across the world, and in Asia, also they worship him like anything. If Tamil Nadu people were really looking at the demigod and they are voting for him, no, not like that. And it is very important to note that there was a discussion about these fan clubs and all. And there is this scholar called Sarah Dickey. She did an amazing study on MJR. She points that MJR's fan clubs were the root structures. They were these organic structures which were doing a lot of things for people. And they were doing a lot of protectionism. They were doing a lot of welfare measures. And they were able to stitch together. And also, if you look at the movies and the message, there was, the people can connect easily with them. But at the same time, there was always an underlying social justice, care for the subaltern. For example, when these midday meals came, then the central government said, we don't have fund. And MJR actually jumped the bandwagon and he said that we would do this.
Well, how do you justify then Jayalalitha's rise?
See, the other thing is that even if you take Jayalalitha ma'am, from 1984, she went into Rajya Sabha. And if you look at her speeches in Rajya Sabha, it is quite astounding. See, and the other thing is that it is very important.
Well, there are a number of orators who still haven't managed. If you really look at it, Amitabh Bachchan, and for that matter, Prakash Raj. I'd like to ask you a controversial question here. What do you think are the prospects of Kamal Haasan then in that case?
I would say from as a political observer, commentator, he is creating waves, but I don't think his party would fare much in Tamil Nadu. I can say it very plain. Yeah.
All right.
The reasons are that they don't have an ideological base, and there is the other thing is that when you jump into politics, you should have an ideology, you should have an idea, and you should connect with people. Just because you have a stardom, you can't just come and say, I have an charisma, please vote for me. That doesn't work in Tamil Nadu. There is lot of groundwork, there is lot of effort which goes into them, there is lot of internal churning. It is called as decentralized collective action. People, you have to cultivate a cadre, and they should connect with your ideas, and you should be doing something on ground. Just come and say, I had been star for 50 years, please vote for me. Tamil Nadu people won't do that.
Awesome.